Lillis de Figuris from latinum.org.uk. This is Stockton's edition from the late 1600s, and we are looking at apositio. But before we start looking at apositio, which runs for quite a long time, it's quite a long entry, we're going to look at the introduction to this section. Figurae constructionis, figures of construction. Figurae constructionis. Sunt octo figurae, there are 8 figures. Sunt octo figurae constructionis, of construction. Constructionis, appositio, apposition. Appositio, evocatio, evocation. Evocatio, solepsis, prolepsis, zeugma, synthesis, antiptosis, and synecdoche. And he says here on the right hand side, principally those names run not so fitly in English. Appositio, apposition. Quid fit appositio, what apposition is? He writes in the margin, and that's from Lilly's original text. Appositio, the figure. Apposition, appositio. Est, is. Sorry about that. I'm just going to plug in this laptop. But I'm going to keep going. But I need to find the adapter. And that's another story. So just bear with me for a moment. I'm not going to pause the video. This is all part of the general entertainment. There we have it. My laptop is now plugged in and we can keep going. Appositio, apposition. Appositio, the figure apposition, est continuata, a continued, continuata, sive immediata conjunctio, or an immediate joining together. Sive immediata conjunctio, duorum substantivorum, of 2 substantives, duorum substantivorum. Ejusdem casus, of the same case. Ejusdem casus. Quorum altero, by the one of the which. Quorum altero. Alterum, the other. Alterum, declaratur, is declared. Declaratur. I'm just going to scroll down briefly. And I'll read it again. Quid sit appositio, what is apposition? Appositio, the figure apposition, est, and Stockton notes, where no other word cometh between them. So these words follow one straight after the other. Appositio est continuata sive immediata conjunctio, duorum substantivorum, ejusdem casus, quorum altero alterum declaratur. Ut, as for example, Flowmen Rhenus, the river Rhine. Flowmen Rhenus, or just the Rhine. The applying of the example unto the rule. I'm going to scroll. In this example, the 2 substantives, Flowmen Rhenus, the river Rhine, are joined together without any word coming between them. And the one substantive, Rhenus, doth declare, it does declare, it states, what river is meant by the other substantive, Flowmen. And Stockton notes in the margin, some count apposition to be no figure at all. Appositio autem, and this figure apposition. Potest esse, may be, potestesse plurium substantivorum, of more substantives than two, plurium substantivorum, ut, as for example, Marcus Tullius Cicero. I'm going to scroll. In this example, these three substantives are joined together, Marcus Tullius Cicero. An exception. I'm going to scroll now. De figuris, an exception. Interdom, sometimes. Interdom, apud autores, in authors, they are great Roman authors and other authors. Substantiva, the substantives, ponuntur, are put, in diversis casibus, in diverse cases, in other words, not all in the same case. Perinde, quasi pertinerent ad diversa. Perinde, in such sort, quasi, as if, pertinerent, they did appertain, ad diversa, unto diverse things, as though they apply to different things, not the same thing. Ut, as for example, ut, urbs Patavii, the city of Padua, apud Virgilium, in Virgil. Urbs Antiochiae, the city of Antioch, apud Ciceronem, in Cicero. Now what's meant here? The applying of the examples unto the rule. In these two examples, in the first, urbs Patavii, the latter substantive Patavii, the one at the end, is put in the genitive case, but the former substantive urbs is in the nominative case, and they both refer to the same thing, which is unusual because if they're the same thing, they should both be in the same case, according to the previous statement of the rule. I'm scrolling down. When you hear my voice again, you will know that I have stopped scrolling. In the second example, urbs Antiochiae, the latter substantive, the one at the end, Antiochiae, is the genitive case, whereas the first substantive, urbs, is the nominative case. In appositione, in this figure apposition, substantiva, the substantives, non inveniuntur, are not found to be, semper, always, eiustem generis, of the same gender, all of one gender, aut numeri, or number, quam, for, quoties, as often as alterum, the one, substantivorum, of the substantives, caret, lacks, does not have, singulari numero, the singular number, aut est, or is nomen collectivum, a noun collective, in which, as Stockton notes, the singular number signifies multitude. Possunt esse, they may be, diversorum numerorum, of diverse numbers, of different numbers. Ut, as for example, urbs Athenae, the city Athens. Urbs Athenae. I'm going to scroll. When you hear my voice, you'll know I've stopped scrolling. The applying of the first example unto the rule. In this example, the latter substantive, Athenae, is the plural number, albeit the first substantive, urbs, be the singular number. So urbs is singular, Athenae is plural, because Athenae does lack the singular number by the common rule. Haec sunt feminei generis, numerique secundi, etc. From the rules that are in Lily. And this, of course, is part of Lily's grammar, this de figuris. I'm going to scroll. In me turba runt luxuriosa proci. Proci, wooers, there's people that are coming because they want to make love to you. Turba luxuriosa, being a riotous or wanton company. Ruunt, come rushing in. Interesting choice of text. In me turba ruunt luxuriosa proci. The applying of the second example unto the rule. I'm going to scroll a little bit. In this second example, proci, the first substantive in construction, being the plural number, yet the latter substantive in construction, turba, being a noun collective, is the singular number, and of the feminine gender, though proci be the masculine gender. And then we have an example from Virgil. Ignavum fucos pecus a praecepibus arcent, sub audi apes, the bees are understood. Arcent a praecepibus, drive from their hives, fucos, the drones, pecus ignavum, being a sluggish cattle, being a lazy species of beast. The applying of the third example to the rule, I'm going to scroll down. In this third example, the first substantive, fucos, the drones, is the plural number, albeit the second substantive, pecus, which is a noun collective, the herd, be the singular number. I'm going to scroll again. Triplici nomine fit appositio, apposition made for three respects. Appositio, disfigure apposition. Fit, is made. Triplici respectu, in three respects. Triplici respectu. Causa restringendi, for the cause to restrain. Causa restringendi, generalitatis, a generality. Generalitatis, ut, as for example. Urbe Roma, the city Rome. Or actually, it's not Urbe Roma, it's Urbs Roma. Urbs Roma, the city Rome. Animal equus, a living creature. Animal equus, in other words, a horse. A living creature, a horse. Animal equus. Urbs Roma, a city Rome. The applying of the examples unto the rule. I'm scrolling. In the first of these two examples, Urbs Roma, here is made an apposition to restrain the general signification of this word urbs, which signifies any city, to the proper city we're talking about, Rome, so that the one thing is shrunken down to the other. In the second example, animal equus, animal, a living creature, an os, and this is interesting here because it's written an os, which means that the H of horse was at the time that he was writing in 1690 not pronounced. And so we have an instead of a horse. A living creature, an os. The word animal, which signifieth generally, it signifies, it shows, it demonstrates generally any living creature, is restrained to the more special signifying of an os. I'm going to scroll. Causa, for the cause tollendai, of taking away, equivocationis, equivocation or double meaning, uncertainty, ambiguity, equivocationis, ut, as for example, Taurus, a mountain of Asia, lupus, a fish. The applying of the examples unto the rule. Scrolling. In the first of these examples, for the taking away of all doubtful significations of meanings, this word taurus, which signifieth sundry things else, in other words, it can mean other things, here is meant to be simply a mountain in Asia, Taurus mons. In the second example, I'm scrolling, lupus piscis. The word lupus, which has other significations, or as he writes, which hath other significations, it has other meanings, is here spoken of a fish called a pike or a pickerel, lupus piscis. Et, and, ad attribuendam, to attribute, proprietatem, and a special property to anything. Ut, as for example, Erasmus, vir, exactissimi judicii, Erasmus, a man of most exact or perfect judgment. Erasmus, vir, exactissimi judicii. I'm going to scroll. The applying of the first example. In this first example, these words, vir, exactissimi judicii, are added to Erasmus, to signify this proper quality in him. Nerius adolescens insigni forma. Nerius, a man of singular beauty. Again, nerius adolescens insigni forma. I am going to scroll. The applying of the second example. In this second example, these words adolescens insigni forma, a beautiful young man, are added to nereus, to note this singular gift in him. Timotheus, homo incredibili fortuna. Timotheus, a man of incredible fortune. The applying of the third example. In this third example, these words homo incredibili fortuna are added to signify this rare or unusual property in him. Timotheus homo incredibili fortuna. I'm scrolling, and that brings us to the end of this section on apposition. Apposition, Evan the Latinist. So, there we have it. I hope you found that useful, and without the audio, I think this text would be a little bit difficult to read. So that's it from me from latinum.org.uk. You can support this channel by subscribing at Patreon, and if you subscribe at Patreon, you also get access to my audio catalog and Latin courses and resources, which are hosted at Patreon. Bye.